This is the Seven Figure Standard Podcast, hosted by Arash Vossoughi and Mikey Stiller, with mindset and strategies to help you break through and create personal freedom.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Seven Figure Standard Podcast. I'm Mikey Stiller, and so thrilled to be back with you for another episode with my co-host, Arash Vossoughi. Arash, how are you, my friend?
I'm great, Mikey. How are you?
I am great. I'm really excited about this episode because it is all about attitude. Hard to believe that we're 14 or 15 episodes in and haven't done an episode on attitude yet, because it's one of both of our favorite topics when it comes to success and life in general. But we're going to get to it now, and it's going to be really good because when we talk about attitude, it is far more than the masses' perception of attitude, which is really optimism. We talk about what we mean when we're talking about attitude.
Well, we got to understand what attitude is first. Like, attitude impacts every area of our life. So if we look at our results, anyone's results, anyone listening to this, look at your results. Your results are a direct reflection of your attitude. And what your attitude is, it's a 3-step process. It's your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. That's what attitude is. Now, most people they think, oh, I'm a bubbly person. I'm an optimistic person. That means I have a great attitude. Not necessarily. See, you could be the most bubbly, the most optimistic person, but if you're operating with any scarcity in your heart, you're operating from a negative mental attitude. That's why we want to understand that we want to wipe scarcity out of our life. And that takes a great deal of discipline, which we've already done a lesson on discipline, to really form your attitude. See, discipline and attitudes work so closely together. Now, a lot of people have, through programming, generations of their family. And they have taken, for example, lack and limitation or a poverty is a badge of honor. It's not a badge of honor. That's an attitude. It's a mental disease. Settling is an attitude, mentally disease. And unlimited faith in oneself is an attitude. Like, faith is our strongest attitude we have. And when we understand that, and we want to understand when I'm saying thoughts, feelings, and actions, I'll give you one with faith. Faith, the thought is seeing what you want all day long, speaking what you want all day long, of what you really want. It's believing in the incredible. So the feeling, what is incredible? You have this genius inside of you that if one person can do it, anybody can do it. And that genius will take you wherever you want to go. And that's your subjective mind. And then it's receiving in your results what the masses call incredible, but we call a standard, where we expect it as part of our attitude. Expectation, another attitude. See, we want to look at that. Money is an attitude. Your health is an attitude. Acting on ideas is an attitude. Discipline is an attitude. What is your attitude towards all of these? And then you're going to see them in your results.
Okay, I love the way you talk about this, because I think a lot of times people think of attitude as something that is really wide, but not necessarily really deep. And so you just talked about how attitude creeps into every single crack and crevice of our life, right? Money is an attitude. Health is an attitude. And so what I want to ask is, can you have a really great attitude in one area, like money, your finances? You have a fantastic attitude towards finances, but a really poor attitude towards something like health or relationships, instead of just having one overarching good attitude or bad attitude? Is it more diverse than it is black and white?
Well, I'm going to tell you the answer to this because there's a lot of layers to this. Yeah. Number one, you can have a great attitude, for example, towards your business, because you put more priority on your business. You're much more disciplined towards your business. And you can have a bad attitude towards your health. You take it for granted, or you take your relationships for granted. See, attitude, it has to be worked on in every area of our life. See, because once you make attitude a very big intent in your life, you're going to make it part of your identity. And when it's part of your identity, it'll be harder not to operate from that attitude than to operate from it. I'll give you an example. Like, I'm very sensitive now to negativity. It is like nails on a chalkboard to me. I get away from anyone who's negative because I don't want attitude is contagious, good and bad. I don't want their negative attitude to go into my subconscious mind. I do not want it. So I choose very carefully to who I put in my circle. My circle is very tight. I have a lot of friends. I love my friends. But I also have a very tight inner circle who I work on with higher level ideas, who I mastermind with, who I want to get feedback from. So attitude is what you put your intention on, but you want to develop a great attitude in all areas of your life. Now, I think we can always get better. So let's look at how somebody attacks their day. How they attack their day is an attitude. Or either they attack it just lazy, kind of going in their motions. It's an attitude. How you attack your goals is an attitude. How you attack your insecurities is an attitude. See, for me, my attitude towards insecurities, I don't think they're bad. I think insecurities are only bad when we don't deal with them. They're very good because they become their greatest gifts. But listen to that. That's my relationship. Your relationship to anything is your attitude.
So, Arash, you just talked about intent and intention several times. And to me, that means offense. So instead of letting the day set your attitude for you, letting circumstances, someone else set your attitude for you, intent and intention means that you are going out and consciously choosing your attitude. So if you've been living life on autopilot, even maybe not in every area of your life, but with your attitude, how can you switch that and start changing your attitude on purpose towards all these different areas of your life?
I don't believe you'll ever have great discipline, great attitude, great standards, great identity if you don't have a definite goal. You have to have a definite goal. What do you want more than anything else? What is driving you to get out of bed? And that's the starting point. Then what you have to do, which I've shared on many episodes, it's the single most important thing I've ever done, is you've got to become so damn good at being monomaniacally focused, at only accepting what you want and rejecting anything that's not that. Now, what I'm asking everyone to do, I'm telling them it's essential, but it takes a great deal of discipline to catch it. So how we develop our attitude is we've got to first look at ourselves from an objective place. And we want to look at it and say, how am I behaving? What I'm saying when I'm objective is I'm neutral. And we've got to understand the laws of our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind is neutral, but our subconscious mind always delivers to us the dominating of two ideas. So what I mean by that, let's say somebody says, I want to create a massive quantum leap, but their conditioning is expecting lack and limitation. Lack and limitation is their attitude, and it will be expressed. We want them to create, at our company, Voss Coaching Co., a limitless attitude. See, the essence of who we are is for growth and expansion. But if we understand that and understand it's your right to be successful, it's your right to live an abundant life, it's your right to be happy and free, that's the intent, and we build our attitude around that. If I was abundant, what would that feel like? If I was free, what would that feel like? See, I used to have this big vision of freedom. Like I still have the same definition I wanted to do, and I'm talking about when I was losing badly, is I wanted to live life on my own terms, do what I want, when I wanted, with whomever I wanted, as often I wanted. Freedom, years later, I became aware of this. Freedom came from building my disciplines, building my image, building my attitudes. That's what created the freedom. See, but none of this happens without discipline. Discipline is what creates the attitude. See, you can't accept or reject if you have no discipline. You can't be seeing the world differently if you have a shitty attitude. If you're expecting crap, you're going to get crap. See, but if you see, our job is to do the very best we can every day. Well, what happens, that's an attitude. And it follows the intent, do the very best, but the follow through is the attitude. And the attitude, if you're doing your best, you're going to put that out in the world, and the world is going to give the best back to you. if you consistently compound that over time.
Raja, I know you. So I know that you believe someone can always improve their attitude. Your attitude can always get better. Now, if someone is just now starting to consciously work on their attitude for the first time, we talk about world class, being world class results a lot on our podcast and at Voss Coaching Co. It's a standard for our company, for each of us, for our clients. What is the number one attitude everyone needs to develop if they want to live a world-class life?
Number one, to the starting point of world class is what I think, and I've been saying this a lot, man's greatest need is to believe in themselves. You've got to make up your mind right now that this is where I'm going and I can have whatever I want and do whatever I want. And here's the thing, people are going to listen to this. They're going to be like, oh, can I really? You would never have a want that is not meant to be fulfilled, because our want starts in our subconscious mind. And the whole purpose, it's there for you to grow into something. So you've got to understand that you can have it if you're willing to work, if you're willing to pay the price. I remember our dear mentor taught me, I know he probably taught it to you too, but he told me from the very beginning, you've got to pay the price to living a world-class life. And, he said, I said, what is that price? And he said, the price is whatever it demands. I said, well, how much is it? He said, that's not the price I'm talking about. He said, I want you to do things better than you've ever done them before. He said, you've got to pay the price of overcoming criticism. You've got to pay the price of building your belief. You've got to pay the price of overcoming imposter syndrome. You've got to pay the price of repetition. It was the price. And I remember one time I was talking to him and I said, I'm really stuck. And he said, well, why are you stuck? I said, I'm letting the outside control my attitude. He said, well, that's a dumb idea. He always used to tell me that. That's a dumb idea. And he said, I'm going to teach you a lesson. And he said, if you get it like I got it, he said, I had to be taught this lesson. He said, anyone can have a great attitude when things are going well. He said, the real true professionals in life have an even better attitude when things are tough. And I remember it just hit me deeply. When you just get hit by something that's like, the truth when you hear it because you feel it. Well, I went for a 2-year dive and studied attitude, everything. I'll give you an example. I remember I was frustrated for a few days. And then I got this leak in our roof. This was probably 10 years ago. And I just started laughing. I go, well, I earned that. That was because of my attitude. And I switched it right away. And I had another time, we moved into a new house and I had this jacuzzi built. Anyway, there's this little sliver and that never got filled in. And my phone fell through it. And I said, God, I deserved it. And I started laughing because I looked back. And honestly, those were a reflection when I was frustrated or when I wasn't thinking or I was operating from a bad attitude. But when you really study attitude, when you're letting the outside control you, that's the worst thing you could do for your attitude because you're letting somebody else dictate your attitude. Nobody can disturb you unless you disturb you. Nobody can impact your feelings unless you give away all your power. That's attitude. And that's why I will tell you, learning is an attitude. Learning, you get intellectually involved with an idea. So let's say somebody's listening to our podcast or watching it. They get intellectually involved with an idea and they stop there. That's what most people do. They just gather more and more information, read more books, go to more events, but not implement. The second part is you get emotionally involved with that idea. And then you've got to step out and act. See, learning is a 3-step process. That's attitude, thoughts, feelings, actions. It happens in every area of our life.
So Raj, I'm glad you talked about if you want freedom, you've got to be willing to pay the price. What is the price? Whatever it demands. And so I'm sure you've heard Bob say too, there's another way to live that doesn't cost as much, but it's not any good. Well, he's not necessarily talking about money when he says that. Yes, money is part of it, but it's also the small daily disciplines that you've got to be willing to pay every single day. And I think that that's a great place for us to transition and do the action step for today. What is a price that everyone can pay to develop a winning attitude, an attitude that's going to take them to freedom?
What I will tell you is look at your attitude in every area of your life first. Like grade it. Look at your money. Like if I said, what is your attitude towards money? Rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. Now I say, look at your attitude towards your health. Rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. Look at your attitude based on, are you great at making decisions? Scale of 1 to 10. Look at your attitude of selling. Most people have such a misunderstanding what selling is. Everybody is selling. You have to have a great attitude towards selling. Look at it on a scale of 1 to 10. Look at your attitude towards what's your expectation. Now, what you want to do is go over those numbers, like actually do this exercise. Go over those numbers. Now I want you to look at the results in your life. Look at the amount of money you earn. Look at what you have in your bank account or investments. Do they match the number you put? Do it for your health. Do it all areas of your life. That's going to give you an honest analysis of where your relationship is with every area. Now what you want to do is say, the one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be the best. I'm going to develop the most positive mental attitude, and I'm going to look for the good in every area. And you build it. Let's say you have a bad attitude towards money. Let's say you just do not have a lot of money. You are really wanting it. Well, you've got to rewire your mind with a statement, something like, I'm so happy and grateful now that I have a great relationship with money. Money keeps flowing to me in avalanches of abundance. My contribution keeps getting greater and greater, and it is done. And then you record it and listen to it. And then you do not accept any idea that's not what you want. Start observing your attitude. I'll tell you another good one, Mikey. Like, when you're in the public eye, like we are, you'll get criticized. I don't ignore the criticism. I look at it objectively just to look at it and say, is it real? See, I don't have an attitude towards it. I don't have emotional charge towards it. I'll look at it and I'll be like 99.999, it's not real. But if there's somebody who tells me something that clicks with me, I'll be like, maybe I wasn't present at that moment, or maybe I can get better. That's an attitude. I want you to start looking at your relationships, do an observation first of it, and then get so good at developing it and only looking for the good in every situation, you're going to change your attitude.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, Arash. This was a fantastic lesson on attitude. If you like today's podcast, please rate, review, and share it with your friends and family. And we'll see you next week for another episode of 7 Figure Standard Podcast.
Thank you for listening to this episode of 7 Figure Standard. We hope you found the insights and strategies helpful on your journey to success. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform to help us reach more people like you. To learn more about Arash and Mikey and how Voss Coach & Co. can help you achieve your goals and reach new levels of success, visit vosscoachandco.com. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of 7 Figure Standard.